Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the book starter ride for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a talent manager and, of course, entrepreneur, no other than Mr. Nelson Paredez Park.
Awesome. Great to see you, Daniel.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Nelson. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am an entrepreneur and business owner, and I've worked in the entertainment industry for, over 30 years. And my focus really with people is to really make sure that they're empowering their businesses, their initiatives, and so I help people build wise game plans and structures to level up their lives. I've worked in the entertainment industry for the past, over 35 years. I started as a kid actor. I worked in casting. I was an acting teacher, and then I've been managing actors for the past 30 years. I have a lot of successful actors over the years that I've built their careers. And one of the new initiatives I've taken on the last bit is a business called Kids on TV. And Kids on TV is a structure that helps parents navigate the entertainment industry for their kids, but I do it very differently in a way that I want to make sure that parents are really empowering their kids, not to be famous, but to enjoy the journey in the entertainment business. Since I have worked with 80 different agencies in town, worked on hundreds of productions with bringing a lot of my talent to Hollywood and to top TV shows. I've taken clients to the Emmys and the Oscars. I kind of know what it takes to build a successful child actor. And so I like to make sure that we do it the right way without avoiding the pitfalls, making sure it's fun for your kid, making sure that you as a parent are the kind of parent that wants to do this for the right reasons. Because sometimes we'll meet someone that just wants to have their kid be famous. And that's definitely not the way to do it. That creates a lot of pitfalls and problems for a kid and a teen growing up. So I built a brand called kidsontv.com, and I have a series of ebooks launching this year that teach parents kind of what to do, where to spend their money, where not to spend their money. So you can check that out on, again, kidsontv.com, and get in touch with me on that front if you're interested in that. And then another brand that I have is called Help and Answers. And as an executive coach, I help entrepreneurs and business owners really level up their life. And we look at someone's time and their money and their boundaries. So I focus on a lot of just wise principles in both my entertainment company and my executive coaching company that helps, people just level up their lives to go next level.
Mr. Nelson Paredez Park, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So let's talk about how to get your kid into show business. What is the first step as a parent should take if their child wants to enter show business?
Well, I think the first step is called research. It's researching and understand the business, making sure that you make a list of like what are the right reasons to do this. Like if your kid is outgoing and they're talkative and they seem to be natural performers, then that is a good reason to do this business. But then you need to look at like your structure as a parent. Do you have the time to dedicate to this? Do you have the finances to be able to afford this hobby? So this is like anything else. It's like soccer, it's like a dance class, it's like any other part-time activity that you would start as a parent. You want to make sure you can put a couple $100s a month into being able to support this, I would say, hobby to start with, because you want to have your kid in a good acting class. Generally, you want to, if you live out of out of state and you don't live in LA or New York, you want to make sure that you have some good acting classes under your kid's belt. So we would help you figure out like what is the best class, for your kid. Do they need to take an improv class? Do they need to take an on-camera class? You want to make sure your kids are good readers. So reading is an important skill to be able to do well if you want to succeed in this business. So step number one is to have a conversation with your family and talk through, why are you actually wanting to pursue this thing? Step two is to find a good acting class in your community, and or a top class in LA or New York. There's many classes now that you can join via Zoom and be working with a top coach here in Los Angeles. Um, and then you'll need to get some headshots. Headshots will, run you anywhere from $350 to $500 for a good photo shoot session. You'll want to get some professional photos that are actual headshots. And then from there, you'll set up your accounts. There's various accounts that, your agent and manager will use on a daily basis: Actors Access or Casting Frontier. And we, as a rep, we are using your accounts to be able to, find opportunities and get a client audition so that they can start getting some experience in the business. So, step number one is just analyzing, the structure for your family to see if it's a good one, and then starting to put some of the tools in place. And then hopefully you're able to team up with a good agent or manager to kind of get this process started.
Mr. Nelson, what age is it appropriate for a child to start pursuing a career in entertainment?
I mean, I would say generally 6 is a good age. I mean, there are kids that start earlier, like a mom or dad may put their kid in a bunch of commercials or print ads, and that could be as early as 3 or 4 sort of thing. There's even baby commercials for babies. That's not anything we focus on anymore as a management company. We really just focus on clients that are just generally 6 and above. So I would say that that's a good age to kind of get started with.
What role do talent agents and managers play in a child showbiz career?
Well, agents and managers work as a team. So an agent has two jobs: to procure employment and to negotiate contracts. A manager's job is to develop, to guide, to give advice, to help you get an agent if you don't have one, to help you pick the right looks that you might want to have for your headshots, to really teach you the business, to introduce you to acting coaches and various people in the entertainment industry that can start moving your kid's career forward.
Mr. Nelson, how can parents identify reputable agents and avoid discounts?
So it's important to be using a reputable agency that's been around for a while, that has good integrity. And generally, if you look up the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, SAG-AFTRA, you'll be able to find a list in your local state of what are the agencies that are SAG franchised to be able to use. And generally, if you get yourself into a couple of really good acting classes, you'll start to get referrals or hear the same names over and over and over again. A lot of times a client may sign with a manager first, like ourselves, and then we will get a client developed and know what they're doing and prepare you for agencies, and then we will do the introductions to help you get an agent. So a lot of times a client will get a manager first. Management can be useful, at the beginning of your career, or it could be once you're a little bit more established. So I have clients in both ways. We have clients that are a lot more established and really need management services to help them go next level. And then we also work with clients that are, beginners a little bit, and we need to develop them a little bit. Again, we don't work with as many development clients anymore because I've been doing this for 30 years. But obviously for the little kids, they're always growing up. So our 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, we're always having to replace those kids because they're growing up. So we obviously need to find new kids. And most kids at the age of 6 are obviously not going to have a large resume yet.
Mr. Nelson, how can a parent prepare their child for auditions mentally and emotionally?
I would say mentally and emotionally, it's about having a balanced life at home. Looking at like making sure that you're helping them build their confidence, having them be good readers, having them do this for the right reasons. That this should just be a fun activity like Girl Scouts or soccer or like dance class. So if you just talk about the process of just having fun with it, the parents that make this fun, those are the kids that do well at this generally.
What should parents know about casting calls and how to find legitimate ones?
Well, normally you're going to get legitimate ones through your agent or manager, because we're only going to focus on projects that, generally have already been vetted and with casting directors that we know. And again, it's your due diligence to kind of start the process. If you start an account with LA Casting or Casting Frontier or Actors Access, you can, as a parent, start submitting on lower budget projects to get some experience. At the end of the day, though, when you submit yourself, your kid as a child, when you're submitting your child to an audition as a parent, and you don't know who these people are, you're going to have to just use wisdom. And if you think that something seems off, or let's say you take your kid to an audition and you don't feel safe, then get out of there right away. I mean, there's a lot of auditions now that are via Zoom, so you're not as concerned in those, situations, because again, you as a parent are there to supervise. But when you take your kids to physical auditions, obviously your child's going to go into an audition room with strangers or people that they've never met, and that's part of the process. So generally, in the beginning of your career, it's a little bit of just like trusting the process, going to auditions, and you as a parent, if you see any warning signs, that you feel make you feel unsafe, get your kid out of there right away. But when you have a good agent or manager, they're only going to send you on the legitimate things that, like, with vetted casting directors that have been doing this for years.
How what are the oh man, what are the biggest challenges kids face in a show business, Mr. Nelson?
I would say the biggest challenges that a kid and parent face is the rejection, because you audition over and over and over again for auditions, and 90% of projects, or really 99% of projects, you're not going to book. So that can be a little kind of challenging if your expectation is like that you're going to book jobs all the time. That's not the way it works. This is like going to the Olympics. So it's going to take energy. It's going to take repetition. It's going to take training. And so you may audition for 20, 30, 40, 50 things before you even get a call back. So sometimes a kid may get discouraged. So you need to make sure that you're focused on the process of this business, and having fun with the whole process. And whenever you get a booking, that's like icing on the cake. So I think that's one of the pitfalls and challenges sometimes when a client gets into the business first. They're expecting to have success with this right away. And this is a long journey. This is a marathon. So you need to prepare for that.
Indeed, people, how can parents support their child without becoming stage parents?
How can parents support their child without becoming stage parents? Is the parent not trying to do this for themselves? Like, if a parent wanted to be a dream as an actor and they're trying to live through their kid to do this process, like, that's really not the right reason to do this. So a parent can have boundaries. A parent can make sure that this is just fun. A parent can make sure that they're not just trying to have their kid make money at this. So they need to treat this just as a fun part-time hobby until it starts to not be a hobby and it starts to become a career. Because the first 2 to 3 years of this, it's a grind. It's a little bit of repetition. It's a lot of learning. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's going to take some time to get there. So you need to enjoy the process. And if you have multiple kids doing this business, let's say you have 3 kids and they all want to, work as kid actors, the reality of it is a lot of times it's just going to be one kid in the family that gets most of the bookings and the other two won't get as much. So you also can't compare. You can't compare your kids. Every kid is different, and every kid looks different and acts differently, and like their reading skills may be different, their height, their weight. There's so many factors that come into play. So again, the lesson for today is fun, 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 fun. And the day it's not fun anymore, you quit doing this and you don't do this anymore. You don't want to push your kid to do this and be that kind of parent that just is pushing your kid, because they're not going to enjoy the process. And then when they turn 18, they're going to regret, you're probably going to regret that you've had your kid in show business if you don't do this the right way.
Indeed. So, as a talent manager and entrepreneur, Mr. Nelson, what are your short term and long term goals?
My personal goals.
Yes, indeed. As a talent manager and entrepreneur.
Well, as a manager, my goals are just to keep helping more clients like get to the next level of their career. I love helping people with their dreams. As an entrepreneur, I have a lot of initiatives going on. I'm currently working on a project that I'm producing. I'm doing a docu-series, a project that I'm helping produce. I have another project now that's another reality-based series that I'm helping coordinate and orchestrate. Um, I started a structure called the AI Experts that's learning about AI and the components of like how we in the entertainment industry should be knowledgeable about like how AI can help us or hurt us. With my Help and Answers brand, I'm focused on helping business owners and entrepreneurs level up their business careers. Um, During the pandemic and during the actor strike, I had to reinvent, and I thought, what could I do that uses my skills as a talent manager? Because the entertainment industry was so slow. So I thought, what else could I do with my time? So I started this other brand called Help and Answers, and now I work with a bunch of business owners and I help them take a look at their time and their money and their resources and their boundaries and their systems and structures. So I've developed like a whole business plan structure to help entrepreneurs and really anyone trying to get a project off the ground. And I help them level up their business and brand with a company called Help and Answers.
Help and answer, and good luck to your goals, Mr. Nelson. And what will be your advice for those parents out there who want to take their children to be part on the show business?
Wait, re-ask that question, Daniel. What's
What
the
will be your yes? What will be your advice for those parents out there who want their kids to be part in show business?
well, as I kind of said before, it's help your kids become great readers. Put your kid in a good acting class, get some great headshots, read 3 to 5 books about the entertainment industry, and just learn the business. Have your kid do a couple theater shows. Have them, get some experience on a live stage so they build their confidence. Because we have a lot of clients that over the years, they might not make tons of money in the business, but for parents that put their kid in this, it helps them build their confidence. And you can't put a value on like confidence, but it helps you in every other area of your life. So helping your kids thrive, that's your job as a parent. So do this for the right reasons and have fun with it.
Thank you for your advice, Mr. Nelson. And what legal considerations should parents be aware of, like contracts, labor laws, and many more?
Um, Realistically, at the beginning of your career, there's not tons of legal stuff you're going to need to be aware of. But as a client starts working more, and a client is on a series, as a series regular, we get an attorney for them. And when you have an attorney's going to take a look at your contracts, and help you navigate like just all the deal points of an agreement that you need to be aware of. Normally, your agent in the beginning of your career is going to negotiate all those deals, but as a career starts getting bigger, then we will want to attach your attorney to your deals, where we'll have your agent, your manager, your attorney. Then we'll add a publicist to the team. So as your career grows, we'll help you grow your team. There are other organizations that are out there to help. Um, Parents in the kid world. There's an organization called Minor Performer Alliance that's here in Hollywood that helps parents navigate the entertainment business a little bit. So that's a good organization to check out. They will also help you with getting your child's work permit. Because when you work on a job, kids that are under 18 need to have work permits. So that organization, Performer Alliance, will help you do that.
Mr. Nelson, how do you help children handle rejection and build resilience?
I mean, that's a series of like them staying in acting classes. That's sitting down and have quarter check-in meetings with them. We discuss like how they're feeling, um, uh, what they need to kind of focus on if they're getting stuck with the audition process. So that's kind of like an individual one-on-one sort of talk that we have with each kid or each parent as they start, progressing through this business. Because some kids are resilient and it doesn't seem to, they just enjoy the process, and other kids are really always focused on like, yes, they want to book the job. So we need to kind of chat through with them, and help, build the expectations of, how often they're going to book. So a lot of times it's about making sure that we manage having the client and the kid have realistic expectations of this process.
Yes, indeed. Before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Nelson, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, book 101 review in fifth season, comedy 101 in second season, food 101 in its fifth season too, Geography 101 and Love Letters in third season. And my baby podcast is Mental Health 101, Movie 101 review, as well as my Music 101 in its fourth season. So please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Nelson, how do you keep the experience fun and healthy for the child?
Uh, Keeping it fun is, celebrating success. Like when you do get a booking, going out with to dinner with a client, celebrating going to see a show. I mean, it's you got to look at like what things you like to do for fun, as a kid and as a parent. But we're always reinventing. I'm always learning new skills. I'm always wanting to grow myself just as much as I'm a coach, I always have coaches coaching me as well because I want to make sure that I'm learning and growing. So I think, the important thing and in life is to keep growing, keep learning. I'm an avid reader. I've over the years read a lot of books, and it's important to like learn new skills, read have new ideas, and be a connector of people so that you're learning from different sorts of people as well.
Learning and grow. People, so Mr. Nelson, can you recommend a book regarding our topic? Or
Well, I
books
want
that
to recommend
empowers
a book
you?
that I think is just great in general about habits. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's just, I think you will have the life that you have many times by the kind of habits that you keep in your life. And that's really my concept of like help and answers. Help and answers, my premise is that you have the life that you have or the life that you don't have, dependent on the questions that you ask yourself or the questions that you don't ask yourself in your life. So I think it's important on a daily basis to ask yourself deep and powerful questions. And then that's where my to do list stems from. My to do list doesn't just come from like what I'm stressed out about in life, it really comes from asking deep questions. And I found that when I shifted how I ask questions on a day to day basis, my to do list and the objectives and what I was up to in my life was very different. And all that comes down to also your habits. So, the book that I'm recommending that, everyone out of today listen to is pick up a copy of Atomic Habits and learn to get 1% better at all the habits that you have going on in your life on a daily basis.
Yes, people, Atomic Habits by James Clear is highly recommended. I featured it on my first season on Book 101 review.
Also, can I give you one more,
Yes,
Daniel?
go ahead.
Secret of a Millionaire Mind.
Yes,
And that's by T. Harv Eker. And I remember years ago going to a camp. It was called Warrior Camp. And it's a great book that just gives you the mindset of like how to think, like a
yes.
millionaire in many ways, and like just how to have that mind that makes a big difference. So that's the second book that I'll kind of highlight. Again, Atomic Habits be number one, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind number two. And then for anyone that just wants a good read to just check out and is into the crime space, there's another book here that I actually helped promote this last year, and it's called. I don't think that you can see this right now, but it's called Conflicting Loyalties. So I don't know, Daniel, if you can pull that up online, but
Conflicting
it's called
loyalties.
Conflicting
Yes.
Loyalties by an author named Aidan Gabor. And it was his life as a mob enforcer turned DOJ informant. So again, this is a completely different genre. This is not a book for kids at all. This is for parents that love crime novels, but it's called Conflicting Loyalties. And actually, that's not the right cover. You'll have to
There's
look.
another card.
That's
Yes.
not the right book. That's not the right book. That's by Harry.
Okay.
You want to find a book by Aidan Gabor. Aidan Gabor. So it's
Aiden.
Aiden Gabor, Gabor. So there you go. That one. So this is a fascinating story that ultimately, hopefully, gets turned into a movie. But this book was about a guy that grew up with really hard circumstances. And when he pretty much like turned 18, he had to make some hard decisions if he was going to continue the life of being in the mob or become a DOJ informant. So it's a really fascinating, very fast read. And for anyone that likes the crime novel space, it's a good one to check out. And it was a book that we were helping kind of put out there this last year, because I'm always, as an entrepreneur, looking for initiatives that I can support, help, and this was a fun one. So find things in your life that interest you. And being in the entertainment industry, I found that this book was quite fascinating, and ultimately, hopefully, we'll be able to turn this into a movie someday.
Mr. Nelson Paredez Park, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your projects right now?
Yeah, so realistically, if you want to connect with me, just go to my Instagram, which is at Nelson Paredez Parks. So at Nelson Paredez Parks. And if you want to send me also a direct message, if you're a parent and want your kid in the entertainment industry, go to kidsontv.com. And if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, go to helpandanswers.com. And if you are an actor and want to get your kid directly into show business and seeking management, go to the esinetwork.com. And those are the three ways that you can connect with me through those three different brands.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Nelson Paredez Parks, because if you support him, more and more and more empowering coaching to come. So, Mr. Nelson, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Appreciate it.
Monica, I'll see you soon.